and Augusta's only increasing. Traffic. That can be defined in one word: gridlock. Riverwatch Parkway at 5 p.m. Take an example from my own life. 7:20 January, a morning, which is kind of cold. The first thought on my mind, I need to get to class in 15 minutes. But it didn't happen like that because it took me 29 minutes to travel 0.6 miles, which resulted in me being exactly 10 minutes late for school. But that's just in a small to mid-sized city like Augusta. Go to a bigger city and the problem gets magnified. Key example, Houston, the Katy Freeway. 26 lanes of asphalt stretching across an entire city. And while it's an incredible sight, it also tells a story. When our solution to traffic is simply adding more and more lanes, we end up pouring more and more space into roads. But the issue with that, space is valuable. That's homes, community centers, and parks that could have been made, but instead replaced by highways. So clearly, traffic's a problem. And that's why my big question is, how do we solve it? The answer I propose, flying cars. Think about it. Since the car was invented, the way we move every day hasn't really changed. We still drive on roads, we still sit in traffic, and what's grown isn't efficiency. It's the opposite, congestion. That's more cars, more lanes, and especially more waiting. Look at roads for a second. They're flat, two-dimensional, and to some extent predictable. You can move forward, left, backward, and right, but you're stuck on the same plane. That's our current reality. Cars can't ascend. They're glued to the ground. Now, think about the same thing, but you add flying cars. That's another dimension. And while movement is still controlled, you can't just move diagonally. You can move, for example, vertically and then horizontally. The technology that allows flying cars to do this is eVTOL. E for electric, VTOL for vertical takeoff and landing. What this means is a flying car takes off and lands similar to a helicopter and transitions to horizontal flight in the air. But this isn't just theory. Flying cars are here soon. Actually, let me correct that. That's a common misconception because flying cars are here now. Look at three companies for a second: Aleph Aeronautics, Pivotal, and Klein Vision. So starting with Aleph Aeronautics, they made the Model A, which keeps the driver upright the entire time, even when transitioning from vertical to horizontal flight. And this car can fit into a parking spot, making it pretty similar to our traditional car. And it's priced $300,000. Pivotal made the Helix. Now, it's not that similar to a normal car because it has no wheels. It can't drive on the ground. So it's more similar to a drone. Its price, $190,000. And lastly, Klein Vision's Air Car. It is not an eVTOL. It needs a runway, making it more like a plane. But just like a plane, it has a longer driving distance possible at 500 miles. Now, flying cars aren't perfect. If they were, everyone in this room would have one. But I can say with pretty high confidence that nobody in this room does. And that's because flying cars face a lot of challenges at this point in time. One of them is regulation. Simply put, many of the regulations that would be beneficial don't exist today. But usually regulation becomes more common as a product becomes more common. So this will likely fade away, but time will tell. Another concern is expense. Those companies I mentioned earlier, well, their prices are pretty high, not even close to a normal car, for that matter, not even a luxury car, with the highest Klein Vision costing up to $1 million according to current plans. And a third concern, safety. On the ground, there's lanes. In the sky, there's not. What this means is that if a crash happens there, not just the people inside the cars and the surrounding area will be harmed, but everything that's underneath them. So, and the solution to the expense argument is that there's flying taxis. What this would do is like an Uber or Lyft service. And while that wouldn't solve that whole situation, it would make flying cars a possible form of transport. While flying cars do have their challenges, especially expense, it seems like they'll be able to overcome them. As demand increases and technology advances, the issues they face today will likely go away. Flying cars are clearly necessary, as demonstrated by our current roads, both in Augusta and Houston. If we can do this using flying cars, time and space will be saved. That's more time to spend with family, playing video games, just relaxing, or unfortunately, for most students, doing homework and studying. And more free space, that's parks, community centers, and other buildings that can be created to make our city better to live in. Just around the corner, there's a totally new way to travel. And while it may be difficult to implement flying cars, we should all be ready to be switching lanes in the sky.